Hello, ChatGPT.
Hi there. How's it going?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode. I am Mohid from Page 25, and today we are going to
Right.
discuss an important and interesting topic: how to think creatively and solve problems effectively. In our daily life, we face many different problems, but sometimes the solution is not obvious. Creative thinking helps us look at a problem from a different perspective and find better solutions. So today I am going to ask some interesting questions to understand how we can improve our creativity, thinking differently, and become better problem solvers.
That's a great setup. So, one good question to start with is when you're stuck on a problem, what's the first thing you usually do? Do you try to find the right answer quickly, or do you step back a bit?
Okay. My first question is, what does creative thinking mean and why is it important in our daily life?
Creative thinking is basically the ability to look at a situation and imagine different ways to deal with it instead of just relying on routine answers. It's important because life doesn't always give us step by step instructions. For example, if your bus is late, creative thinking might mean asking, okay, do I walk, carpool, or even use this time to do something else productive? It's a mix of flexibility, curiosity, and being willing to try something that might not be the obvious choice.
Okay. My next question is, what is the difference between ordinary thinking and creative thinking?
Ordinary thinking usually sticks to what's familiar, like using the same solution you've always used before. Nothing wrong with that. It works for a lot of routine stuff. But creative thinking is what kicks in when the routine doesn't work. It asks, what else could be possible here? And sometimes that means breaking the pattern, combining ideas in new ways, or even reframing the problem itself.
Okay. When we face a difficult problem, what should we do first?
First thing, pause. Don't rush. Take a breath and define what the actual problem is. Sometimes what looks like the problem is actually just a symptom. Once you pin that down, you can start asking, what's within my control here? And then try small steps instead of tackling everything at once. That kind of clear focus makes creative solutions easier to see.
Okay. How can asking the right question help us solve problem more creatively, effectively?
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, the right questions open doors that you didn't know were there. Instead of asking, how do I fix this fast? You might ask, what's really causing this? Have I seen a similar problem somewhere else? Or what would success look like if it were simple? Those kinds of questions shift how your brain sees the problem. So your answers naturally get more creative and more useful.
Okay. What role does brainstorming play creative problem solving?
Brainstorming is like creating a playground for ideas. You generate as many possibilities as you can without judging them yet. The trick is to delay criticism. So those wild, half baked thoughts can actually spark something useful. Later, then, you sort through what actually makes sense. It's that separation of idea generation first, judgment second. That's what makes brainstorming a powerful tool for creative problem solving.
Okay. How can failure help us become better problem solvers?
Failure can be a brutal but honest teacher, you know? When something doesn't work, it forces you to pause and figure out why. That reflection sharpens your understanding and often reveals gaps you didn't notice. Over time, you start spotting patterns faster, anticipating what might go wrong before it does. In that sense, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's like part of the process.
Okay. How can we develop creativity in our everyday life?
Start small. Change one tiny routine. Take a different route home. Cook with one new ingredient. Ask a curious what if question each day. Read outside our usual interests. Even doodling or free writing for a few minutes can flex that creative muscle. And when something goes wrong, treat it as an experiment instead of a disaster. Over time, those little habits build a more creative default way of looking at the world.
Okay. How does teamwork help us solving difficult problems?
Teamwork brings different perspectives together, which means more angles to attack a tough problem. One person might see risks others miss, while someone else suggests a creative alternative. When a team communicates well, challenges get broken down and shared. So nobody has to carry the whole thing alone. And yeah, collaboration can turn a difficult problem into something that feels actually manageable.
Okay. How can technology and AI help us thinking creatively and solve problems?
They can act like a spark plug. AI can surface patterns, generate options quickly, or help test ideas faster than we'd manage on our own. But the creative leap, the part where you decide what matters, what fits your context, what values guide it, that's still a very human call. Used thoughtfully, tech expands your option space, but your judgment steers the ship.
Okay. What is one important piece of advice you will give to someone who want to become a creative and effective problem solver?
Stay curious. Ask questions even when they feel simple. And when something works, ask why it worked, not just that it worked. Curiosity keeps your mind flexible. And that flexibility is what makes problem solving strong and creative.
Okay. Thank you so much for the wonderful discussion. Today we learned that creative thinking is not only about having new ideas, it is about looking at problems from different perspectives, asking better questions, learning from failure, brainstorming solutions, and being open to new possibilities. Every problem can teach us something, and sometimes the best solution comes when we stop thinking in the usual way and try a new approach. So always remember thinking differently, stay curious, learn from your mistakes and never be afraid to try a new solution. Thank you everyone for watching and listening. I hope you found this discussion useful, informative, and inspiring. See you in the next office episode. Allah Hafiz.
Take care.